You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
The figures are in, and it appears that more people dined out in San Diego County than ever before in 1978. In San Diego County alone, there were 3,550 restaurants. Those restaurants took in an estimated $668 million. Restaurants that range from elegance to fast food. Now, if you break that $668 million down, it means that every man, woman, and child in San Diego County spent an estimated $385 at local restaurants last year. I ate at many of those restaurants myself. Hello, I'm Jack White. Part of my job at Channel 10 News is to review restaurants, and during the course of this evening, we're going to look back at some of the restaurants that were my personal favorites. We're also, a little bit later in our program, going to compare some fast food restaurants that serve chicken, but that's a little bit later. Right now, we're at the Hilton Inn on Mission Bay, and last summer, the management here made a commitment. They said that their Tradewinds restaurant was going to be operated not as part of the hotel, but as a restaurant. Well, we paid a visit along with a couple of our viewers, Mr. and Mrs. Steve Jones, to the Tradewinds, and here's what we found. We chose a card from Steve and Gloria Jones this week, and they joined us for dinner at the Tradewinds. That's at the Hilton Hotel. They have a brand new menu at the Tradewinds that brags of an extensive wine list. We chose the Callaway Chenin Blanc. It is from the same vineyard in Temecula that supplied wine for the Queen on her visit to the White House. A bottle of Chenin Blanc is $7.50, but we found it to be an excellent wine. The soup at the Tradewinds is as delightful as the atmosphere. The restaurant, by the way, is furnished in early sailing ship motif. Now, many of the items were once props in major Hollywood motion pictures. The service here is excellent, and they serve water without having to ask for it. In fact, it is a bottled water from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Steve Jones says he enjoys eating good food, and he had the beef stroganoff. It's marinated strips of tender beef in a sour cream sauce over noodles. Mr. Jones says it was cooked to perfection. It cost $8.50. I had the baked trout stuffed with crab meat. It was boned and stuffed with cream crab. It was frozen trout, but I found it to be delicious. This dinner costs $8.55. The food here is not inexpensive. For instance, Mrs. Jones's prime rib was $9.95. But Chef Max Loaf takes great pride in its preparation. Not all of the restaurants we visited last year are quite as elegant as the Tradewinds. In fact, the place just behind me, here in the Bird Rock area of La Jolla, is very interesting. It's called the Cheese Adventure. The Cheese Adventure is a new little place in the Bird Rock area of La Jolla. Their menu is made up of cheese delights, and they have a wine list that brags of labels you'll not find at the local supermarket. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, Ken Williams, a graphologist, will analyze your handwriting and perhaps give you insight into yourself that you've never seen before. I ordered a bottle of fine imported white wine, Palais Foussé. I also ordered the jalapeno jack open-faced sandwich. That's a melted jack cheese with jalapeno peppers, garnished with cucumbers, tomatoes, and served on a rye bread. This sandwich is $1.59, and with a little wine, it makes a fine snack. But to be a meal, something else is needed, perhaps a cup of soup. While I was enjoying my lunch, Ken Williams, the graphologist, had something to say about my handwriting.
I see somebody who is very definitely interested in all the good things in life. I think food and drink is just one of them. I think your interest is very wide, and your ability to, from the eye, I would say your ability to evaluate clearly and taking everything into consideration, then come out with a decision, is very strong.
Mr. Williams works for a fee and will come to your table on request. At the table just behind me, two ladies were sampling fondue that looked and smelled to be delicious. Fondue for two at the Cheese Adventure is $4.69. Now, they also have a delicatessen here. They serve beef, ham, and turkey sandwiches on imported cheeses. And they have a cheese bar, and you can select your own. The Cheese Adventure had 82 different kinds of cheeses on their menu. Now, we give them a pat on the back for daring to be just a little bit different. 1978 was also the year that saw a number of Vietnamese restaurants come to San Diego. And one that we found to be very interesting is on El Cajon Boulevard. It's called Kim's. This is Kim Alford. She is from Saigon and operates Kim's restaurant in East San Diego. She's a Vietnamese refugee, a former paratrooper, and operated a gourmet restaurant in Vietnam. Now she has brought her talents to San Diego. Kim's serves a combination of Vietnamese and Chinese cuisine. Even the menu is in Vietnamese and English. Kim does not have a liquor license, but she does serve a very delightful jasmine tea. Now, for some, it might be just a little bit too strong, but for my taste buds, it was just right. Kim does not do all the cooking, but she does supervise what goes on in the kitchen. She suggested the special of the day, a rolled steak, Vietnamese style. It's strips of beef cooked in a Vietnamese sauce. The steak roll was stuffed with vegetables, including corn, carrots, potatoes, and egg. Nothing on the menu here costs more than $4.50. There was also a generous helping of fried rice on the plate that was topped with a Vietnamese barbecue sauce. A very delightful taste. Kim's also serves some very interesting appetizers. One we particularly liked was the Vietnamese taco. It consists of a tortilla made of coconut juice. It's stuffed with shrimp, sprouts, and onion. And there are also the emperor rolls. You roll them in lettuce leaves and dip them in a fish sauce.
Cảm ơn ông nhiều lắm. Tôi mong rằng ông thưởng thức những thức ăn ở đây.
Now, what does that mean?
It means I am very happy you coming tonight, and I wish you enjoy my food.
Well, in that case, Kom Ung Ba, Kim.
Cảm ơn ông.
That means thank you very much in Vietnamese. This is a very different restaurant, and it's worth a try. I'm Jack White on Restaurant Row. On my adventures down Restaurant Row, people come up on the street and ask me, Jack, which is the best of the fast food chicken restaurants to eat at? Well, we're going to sample all three of the major ones here in San Diego County, and I'll tell you what we found. First of all, we start with Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's one of the old-time favorites. It's been around the longest. But I have found that Kentucky Fried Chicken's batter that they put on their chicken is a little greasy for my taste. Now, this is the original batter. With this package, you get 3 pieces of chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, which, by the way, I find the gravy to be just a little bit weak on Kentucky Fried. You also get coleslaw. Now, the coleslaw is kind of sweet, but it's to my taste. I like Kentucky Fried Chicken coleslaw. You also get a roll. It's rather hard after it has gotten cool and comes in the box, but nevertheless, it's a pretty good roll. And you get a napkin wrapped in a cellophane container with the Kentucky Colonel's picture on it, and you get an all-purpose utensil in there called a foon. It doubles as a fork and a spoon. Now, for this dinner, you pay $2.10. That's with tax. So all in all, I have to give, on a scale of 10, the Colonel a 5, because I find their chicken batter to be just a little bit too greasy. Moving on to our second chicken company, Picnic and Chicken. Now, they offer also a 3-piece dinner. You get 3 pieces of chicken in a similar batter to the Kentucky Colonel chicken. However, it is not quite as greasy. And I found their batter to be just a little bit tastier and the chicken itself to have more meat. Now, you do not get coleslaw with Picnic and Chicken's 3-piece dinner, but you do get this rather large roll, and it has been out of the box now for about 15 minutes, and it's still very soft, very tasty, and there is a little patty of butter inside. They give you for dessert a little orange peel type candy. You get a package of honey to go on that oversized roll, and you get potatoes and gravy. Now, I'm sorry to tell you that Picnic and Chicken's gravy is also rather tasteless, and I found it to be kind of bland. You get the same napkin wrapped in a little cellophane container, only this time it has a picture of some young boy in a straw hat. You get the all-purpose utensil, the foon, and you also get a little package of salt and one of those special little handy wipes to wipe your hands if they get too greasy while eating the product. The product comes in a different type box. It has a little handle on it so that you can carry it a little bit easier if you have to go somewhere. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Picnic and Chicken a 7. By the way, I found that Picnic and Chicken is the highest. Now, their three-piece dinner cost me $2.39 versus the Colonel's $2.10. We move on to the third chicken company that we sampled here in San Diego. It's called Pioneer Chicken. They have fewer outlets than the other two chicken dinner outfits, but nevertheless, theirs is a little bit different. They serve their chicken in a much different batter than the other two companies. I found this to be drier. That is, the batter is drier. The chicken is very juicy and very tasty. However, I did not find as much meat on the Pioneer Chicken as I found on Picnic and Chicken. Again, the gravy in the mashed potatoes on Pioneers is also very bland. The coleslaw is very close to the Kentucky Fried Chickens, but it doesn't quite have the taste or the oomph that Kentucky Fried Chicken has. Their roll, well, it kind of looks like it's been run over by a Mack truck. They also have, wrapped in the little cellophane container, a napkin, and it has some nice printed words on it thanking you for buying their product. You have, once again, the all-purpose foon. You have some salt in the wrapper, and you also have a little something to wipe your hands on, one of those wet devices. This costs $2.11, 1 penny more than the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Pioneer also a 5. So then, if you don't mind paying a few pennies more, we have found in our comparison test that Picnicking Chicken is the best. Oh, listen, I'm sorry. I hope there's no offense by all of this. I just meant, we'll be right back after this timeout. No, hey, listen, Chicken, no, I'm sorry. This was just part of the program. We had to, no, hey, no, don't take it personal. I'm sorry, listen. Listen, I'm really sorry. This was just something that, it's a chicken dish. He gets awfully upset. It's like his relatives and all. I'm sorry. We'll be back in just a minute with more of Jack White's Restaurant Row. Listen, forgive me. I'm sorry. I had to just compare them. Oh, no, really. Listen, nothing personal.
Gijo's restaurant gets its name from a little European character called Topo Gigio, who looks a great deal like Mickey Mouse. Now, this is a family restaurant with a continental menu. Our guest this week is Paul Scaglione. At Gijo's, you have your choice of soup or salad. We had the minestrone soup, and it's the thickest minestrone I've ever seen. But we had to add salt and pepper, and it was served lukewarm. Next time, I'll have the salad. We ordered a liter of house wine. It was a white, a very good Chablis. Now, the service here is very good. Our waiter, Gary Fry, did everything he could to make our evening a pleasant one. I ordered the fettuccine Alfredo. It's egg noodles combined with fresh cream sauce and a touch of garlic and wine. It's piping hot and very tasty. My only complaint, fettuccine must be hot to be good. They serve too much here, and when it cools, it loses too much of that good taste. My dinner was $5.95. Paul Scaglione had the veal scallopini, tender baby veal sautéed in an olive oil and butter with fresh mushrooms and a wine sauce. The veal was tender and cooked to perfection. Paul tells me it was almost as good as his mother made, and he says she was the world's greatest cook. The veal was $7.95. Gijo's is an interesting little restaurant, and it's worth a try.
For more than a year now, my boss has been bragging about his favorite restaurant that served Chinese food, but he would never tell me where it was. Well, finally he broke down. It's here in Imperial Beach. This is it, the Dragon Inn. Come on inside and we'll show you what we found.
There are 3 kinds of Chinese cuisine: Mandarin, Cantonese, and Szechuan. You can find all 3 kinds on the menu at the Dragon Inn. After all, there are 6 pages of menu in English and Chinese.
Gina Liu from the news department and news director Ron Myers, both connoisseurs of Chinese food, joined me at the Dragon Inn. Now, the best way to enjoy Chinese food is to have everyone at your table order something different and have everyone share it, and that's exactly what we did. We started our meal with assorted appetizers. That assortment included barbecued spare ribs, ramaki, chicken livers and bacon, egg roll, jumbo fried shrimp, and parchment chicken. They were all good, but we particularly liked the parchment chicken. After the appetizers came our soup. It was war wonton, and it has everything but the kitchen sink in it. Beef, pork, chicken, vegetables, shrimp, and a giant wonton. Now, I must tell you, all of this is really not necessary because the a la carte meals here are more than enough. Gina Liu ordered the chicken with sizzling rice. It cost $4.25. Now, it's white meat of chicken, boned and served piping hot with vegetables and a gravy sauce that's most unusual. And there is some rice. It's a little different, too. The rice is fried and has the texture of Rice Krispies. It's very unusual, but quite good. Gina gave me some pointers in eating with chopsticks. Next came my selection, sweet and sour shrimp. Now again, these were jumbo shrimp and very excellent sweet and sour sauce with plenty of pineapple and bell peppers. That cost $4.35, and it more than fed the three of us. It was at this point that I decided to return to the fork. And I did so just in time for Ron Myers' selection. It's called the Dragon House Specialty. It includes lobster, chicken, roast pork, mushrooms, bamboo shoots, water chestnuts, snow peas with a special sauce. This costs $5.25, and if you have nothing else, it would be more than enough food for two people. It has been 2 hours since we sat down to supper here, and it got a little bit warm, so I removed my jacket. And as you can see, we have plenty of food left over to take home. Of course, the traditional fortunate cookie is last, and it says, "You are indeed fortunate because you brought the boss along, and he can pay the bill." I'm Jack White on Restaurant Row. We don't always do that, you know. Now we have come to the restaurant I would say is one of the finest I have visited all year. It's that special place where you take your wife or that very special girlfriend. It's called the Mon Ami in Solana Beach. Now, you don't just drop in here. You must call for reservations. Now, here's a look at our evening at the Mon Ami. If you really want to do yourself a big favor and enjoy some great French cuisine, give the Mon Ami restaurant in Solana Beach a try. The maitre d', Bertrand, showed me a wine list of more than 100 varieties. They are both imported and California wines. I settled on a white Bordeaux, Blanc de Blanc, from the south of France. It was dry and excellent. Then I asked Bertrand for a suggestion from the menu.
Beef pastry, chef.
I decided on the white veal, and photographer Leon Barsano had the lamb in a fresh pastry shell. Chef Vincent Gramel prepares his sauces each day to order. At the Mon Ami, the chef begins preparing his food at 11 in the morning and hand selects all of the meats and vegetables served each day. The sauces used in our meals were very rich but exciting to the taste buds. Though I am using my knife, the veal is so tender there is no need to. Photographer Leon Barsano's lamb was to perfection, and the pastry shell it was served in was soft and light to the palate. All meals at the Mon Ami are served with a cream soup, and in true French cuisine, the salad is served after the main entree. Crisp, fresh vegetables with dressings by the chef. Mon Ami is a quality restaurant. Reservations are necessary. Your table is reserved with a special package of matches bearing each guest's name. Right about now, you're probably saying to yourself, this guy has the greatest job in the world, just going around to restaurants and sampling food. But believe me, it's not as easy as it looks. Sometimes when we're trying to be very dignified and say just the right thing in front of dozens of people, the words simply don't come out right. Now, that very thing happened right here at the Mon Ami. You might want to try a little of ta-ta-tan, as I'm having here this evening. So believe me, it's just like eating supper every night on television. Until next time, I'm Jack White on Restaurant Row.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Excepting Alice, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. So walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.